Oh, Kate, are you sure you washed the sheets properly? They smell like you, says my father-in-law, lying on the sheets. If by any chance we had lived together, this kind of surreal situation would have continued every day. I get goosebumps just imagining it. This is the story of how my divorce over living together became the start of my life. My name is Kate and I am 60 years old and divorced. As for the rest of us, I think 60 is just the beginning. I have learned how to use a computer, which I was not good at, by myself after reading a book, and I want to be a woman with a hungry spirit who never gives up because of her age. Will I not be defeated by young people? No, I am still young to begin with. I'm just kidding. I had a rough patch once. It happened when I paid off my mortgage. When I was in my 20s, my husband Tyler and I put some money together to buy a house, and the mortgage payments were finally coming to an end a few years ago. My husband said, "How do you feel about moving in together after all?" What do you mean by how? You know what I mean. Living with my parents. I always say that, but I don't know if it's going to be easy. Why? So you see, don't think very well of your mother, and I think living with her would just be hard on me and her. I like things the way they are. You never know until you try it. Of course you won't be able to stop. You're always so unwilling to challenge. What do you mean by challenge? What is going on in your head? After marriage, what do you think about living with my parents? He brought it up at every opportunity. Before we got married, he was firmly against the idea of living together. So I was relieved. But after we got married, he slowly started to ask me, "Living together is great, isn't it?" Tyler has slowly changed his opinion to living together is good. This fraud. I found out later that his mother always asked him to live with her. Aren't you worried about us old folks being alone in our old age? She was always crying to him. Somehow, a strange sense of responsibility had sprouted in my husband, as if it was his son's duty and filial duty to live with his mother. For my part, I would like my husband to think that it is his duty to refuse to live with us. I understand that parents are important. But I told him that I didn't get along with my mother-in-law, and the relationship between me and my husband, who had no consideration for me, gradually worsened as my simmering feelings built up inside. However, my husband and I had a bad relationship. As we neared the full repayment of our mortgage, his request to live with us escalated in inverse proportion to the dwindling balance of the loan. I had been letting his stories slide, but now I was beginning to feel a real sense of crisis. One day, I went to the front door because the intercom rang, and was surprised when I opened the door. My mother-in-law and we are home. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law were smiling at me. It was 7 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, and the sun was shining a halo on their smiles. How divine. It couldn't be. While I was staring at their sudden visit, my husband came up behind me and said, "Welcome home." And he welcomed his family and urged them to come inside. What? Welcome home? Isn't it sorry to bother you when you visit someone's house, and welcome home when you welcome them? Then it occurred to me my husband saying, "Hey, about moving in with my parents." I thought of my husband's familiar voice in my head. Oh my God. I followed my mother-in-law and my husband who had entered our house with their own faces, not understanding what was going on, and I went back to my room. Then, my mother-in-law was looking at the cupboard. I couldn't help but ask, What are you doing? I asked my mother-in-law. Oh, it's quite scratched. It's too good to replace. You should take better care of it from now on. What? I bought it. And I stared at the part where my mother-in-law and I were staring at each other. But there were no scratches. Do her old eyes see the grain of the wood as scratches? No, no, no. I have old eyes too, but I can't see it. However, my mother-in-law had a habit of making unfamiliar complaints to me. She just doesn't like a wife who took away her son who was very important to her. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I let it go, assuming that it was just the usual thing. Suddenly, I noticed that my father-in-law was not there. At the same time, I heard a noise from upstairs. With a bad premonition and the certainty that it would probably come true, I went upstairs to find my father-in-law, of all places, sprawled out on my bed, not my husband's. And he was on his face. I screamed, "Geez. Did you wash the sheets properly? They smell like you." No, 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 no. I really can't. Please don't do that kind of thing. What came out of my mouth was a harsh word that was not even wrapped in an ostentatious manner. What the hell? You're my son's wife, and you're being cheeky. I don't care. Why are you sniffing someone's bed? I'm just making sure they're washed properly. There is no need to do that. There is. I need to check it as a person who will live here from now on. What? What? Huh? What are you really saying? I'm getting worried now that I'm going to have to live with such a sassy wife. Living together? As I was pouting at the unexpected words coming out of my father-in-law's mouth, my husband and mother-in-law appeared from behind me. I thought I heard some noise, but there you are. My husband said, "Tyler, your dad says he's moving in with us. What does that mean?" It means just what it is. What? What do you mean as is? You paid off the mortgage on the house this month. Uh-huh. So I've decided to let them stay here with us. What? Why on your own? I've been asking you if you wanted them to move in with us for a while. I told you I didn't want to. I can't live with someone who sniffs people's sheets. Did you say that? This guy. Unexpectedly, I clenched my hands into tight fists. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. As long as the loan is paid, I don't need you anymore. My mother-in-law smiled at me. What about? I asked back. You're right, I don't need you anymore. Get out of here. She grinned at me with a hand as if she was shooing away a dog. I see. I had long since become a wallet for my in-laws to pay the mortgage, not a wife. My husband's earnings alone were not enough, and if we were going to get a new house and pay it off quickly, it would be better to have 2 workers. The reason why my mother-in-law put up with my marriage to her precious son, my husband, and I, and kept pressing us for years without giving up on living together, was because she planned to do this someday. As long as the loan was over, she would be able to live with her lovely child again. If I was in her vision, she would probably have used me as a jobber, and if I wasn't, she would have said okay, since I was no longer of any use to her. Ah. The more I understand, the angrier I am getting. It's true that I was wrong and naive for not taking any action until this happened. But this house is mine too. I don't deserve to be mistreated this much. No, but wait. a light bulb appeared and flashed in my head. My heart, which had been enveloped in despair and frustration, cleared up as I remembered something. Okay, I'll do it. Okay. Huh? My husband was the most surprised at my easy reaction. He probably didn't expect me to leave so easily. Maybe he thought I would come crying to him and hang on to him. My husband kept asking me to reconsider until the very last minute before I left home. But I didn't take him up on the offer and divorced him without incident. A month has passed since then. After the divorce, I lost my place of residence and was enjoying a free life in a hotel when I received a call from my ex-mother-in-law on my cell phone. She wanted me to meet her anyway. I could have ignored it as a hassle, but this time I had an idea of what to do, so I was a little nervous and decided to meet her. When I went to the cafe where we were meeting, I found my in-laws sitting there with dejected looks on their faces. As soon as they saw me, my mother-in-law said with tears in her eyes, "Kate, you came." My mother-in-law spoke to me with tearful eyes. "What do you all want with me? I am your ex-wife? Yesterday I received a notice from you concerning the division of property." "Of course. We are divorced. Did you think I wouldn't do anything?" "A little bit. But, you know, the situation is different from that time." "Different?" I asked my husband, who had been nodding his head for a long time. "Tyler's company went bankrupt." "Yeah, it was only a matter of time." I clapped my hands and smiled back. "Kate, what do you mean it was only a matter of time?" "Well, he has been making less and less money for the past few years, and last month it was late in paying his salary, which is a sign that the company is about to go bankrupt." "Was that so? Why didn't you tell me?" "Tyler." My mother-in-law questioned in a devilish manner to her son, who was supposed to be cute and adorable. My husband shrugged in a huff. No, you wouldn't think that. I usually notice. You're just an idiot. From my sharp point of view. What? And my ex-husband looked shocked. Immediately, I replied. "So, you're not going to go all the way out here and tell us that you can't share the property with your son because he doesn't have a job, are you? What are you doing here?" I asked everyone. Everyone was stumped for a moment. Actually, my husband was the one who started the conversation. "Our house burned down." "What?" "The house." "I know." "Why?" "Because of my dad's cigarette mismanagement." "Ha ha ha ha. You're losing a lot of money by living with your parents." As expected, I couldn't hold back and I laughed hysterically. To be honest, I had imagined that my husband would be unemployed. At the time of the divorce, I thought divorce would be a good deal for me because I didn't want to support such a selfish, unemployed husband, and I thought that if I lived with him, his parents living on a pension would just have a hard time, and I might even be forced to take care of them. But I had no idea that they were even burning down the house. This is going to be interesting to talk about that. I felt my childhood mischievousness come back to me. I laughed. "Oh, sorry, but yeah, that's tough. My parents sold the house, so I don't even have a place to live, so I don't know where to start." "So you're now unemployed, with no permanent address." "Don't talk like that." "Well, I bought a house, so I'm sure I'll get out of that soon." "What?" "I bought a house." Everyone bit my words. "I bought a house." "Good. Keep on biting. You know that tall condo in front of the station? That apartment? The color of my parents-in-law's and husband's eyes instantly changed. Is that the kind of apartment that people are longing for? I'm not saying I wanted to live there. I just wanted to live in a secure place since I was getting divorced and will be an elderly single woman. But I'm not interested in the view, and I heard that waiting for the elevator is stressful on the higher floors. So I chose to live on the lower floors. Wow, we'd love to live there. Hey, Kate, will you let us live with you? Hey, let's let bygones be bygones. Oh. I like that. Kate, do me a favor. Needless to say, I was deeply disappointed at my parents-in-law's willingness to live in their divorced ex-wife's house, as I had expected. I think they are too thick-skinned. I wonder if they are going to burn down the apartment too. I would love to help you, but I am no longer of any use to you, and after all, I was just a wallet to pay the mortgage. When I said so sarcastically, my parents-in-law said, "Oh, that's not true." Then my mother-in-law started to lift me up. "We always thought your housework ability was remarkable. Your presence makes the house more gorgeous. You're witty and beautiful, and in comparison, our son grew up in a greenhouse and is unemployed, and I can't handle it anymore." Their precious son was exclaiming as he looked at my father-in-law and his mother-in-law. Well, no matter how cute their son is, if he is not capable of supporting them, I guess that means they have no use for him. They are terrible parents. Well, living with this many people isn't so bad, is it? I said. What? My parents-in-law and my husband were surprised. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kate, what do you mean? My husband asked. I mean exactly what it means. Everyone's faces lit up when they saw me smiling at them. But it's awkward to see my ex-husband again, isn't it? I said. Well, then. You don't have to worry about that. Tyler doesn't have to live in your house. What? My husband was surprised to hear my mother-in-law's words with a smile on her face. Even my father-in-law. Well, Tyler, you'll have to live somewhere else. We'll take care of Kate. Wait a minute, Dad. Mom, why just me? Because we have a pension so we can at least pay for Kate's meals. But you can't pay for anything, can you? I was about to say, you are going to barge into my house, but you only want to pay for the meal? But I decided to remain silent and watch the parent-child rivalry that had broken out just as I had intended. Come on, you foolish brutes, roll in the palm of my hand. Then why don't you with pensions rent a house somewhere? We can't waste money like that when you're unemployed and have nothing to fall back on. What if something happens to us in our old age? You are too old to do anything. Don't be rude, we're still young. If you're young, why don't you work and use the money for your future? I can't even take a shower, and I can't even get a job interview with the way I'm living now. Why don't you just wash in the river? You only think about yourself. What? How can you say that when you don't do it yourself, you punk-ass arsonist? Which one of you is the clunker, you incompetent son? I don't need you anymore. I'm cutting you out of my life. Fine. You neglected your son. In front of this exchange, my mother-in-law said, "Hey, are you serious?" But my husband's words seemed to have angered my father-in-law, and he did not want to withdraw his disownment. On the contrary, he laughed at me and said, "We are going to have a bigger room." It seems that he is ready to burn down the apartment, or rather, he is ready to live in someone else's house. Are you sure you're not mistaken? What? I asked with a smile, and they all looked at me with a puzzled look on their faces. The size of the room will not change from the beginning. I don't want to live with you guys. What do you mean? Kate. I never said anything about living with you. At that moment, well, that's the kind of atmosphere we had. My mother-in-law shouted, I'm glad I got to see you two so easily abandon your son and choose to live in an apartment. Tyler, you've been neglecting me and wanting to live with these people for so long. I hope you've come to realize what a crazy proposition you've been making. They burned down your house and you still can't wake up. I said. My husband glared at my in-laws. Kate is right. I thought it was filial piety to take care of my parents, but it seems my own parents didn't think much of me. Well, wait, Tyler. My parents-in-law pale at my husband's words. Tyler, I'm sorry. I'll cancel what I just said. So, you just want to rely on your son again because you can't live with me. No, no, no. Really? Are you sure? You are obviously upset. I grinned at them and they seemed to have hit the nail on the head and started fidgeting. My husband, who was watching this, gradually got a blue streak on his forehead. I don't want parents like you either. I don't care if you insulate me. My husband shouted in anger, and my parents-in-law became impatient and asked him to listen to them, but he wouldn't listen. Instead, he said, You're the reason I'm here. I want to start over after all. What? Are you serious? I'm serious. I think you have feelings for me too, so you did something to wake me up. Ha 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 ha. Don't do that. Such a congratulatory idea. What? I just thought it would be funny if the person who left his wife after he got along with his parents and moved in with them, broke up with his parents. What? I'm only looking at you for a share of the property. Property division? Are you still going to claim it from me in this situation? Situation like this? I don't care. It's only natural. At the time, I just signed the divorce papers to get out of the house as soon as possible, but you can claim property division even after the divorce, so I'm going to get my money's worth. Wait, what? You really don't like me? What's so attractive about you that I can like you? You have no permanent address and no job? You need to cool down. You're lying. After this, my husband, who couldn't even get me, became upset and went to his in-laws. This is all your fault. He started to storm out. I ran away before the police came. And then, as I declared, I was given a generous share of the property. Well, to be frank, it wasn't much, but this time, I was cut off from my husband. He is unemployed with no fixed address. His savings have been reduced considerably due to the property division, and he seems to be having a hard time being disconnected from his parents. He seems to be spending his time working day jobs, staying at cheap hotels, sleeping in parks, and other places in between. Because of his age, he has not been able to find a regular job and is living like a vagrant. My parents-in-law did not want to get back in touch with their son, and they were able to live on a pension for the two of them. In short, they seem to have abandoned their son. Even after all these years, they are still a couple who only think of themselves. I, on the other hand, have been investing since before the divorce, so I am still living a reasonably wealthy life. Recently, I started attending a nearby programming class to master my skills. None of the students are my age, and if anything, many of them are children, but I enjoy it as if I had many grandchildren. I was not blessed with children of my own, but I feel a warm feeling in my heart that I can be blessed with children in this way. One of my students, Margaret, is an elementary school girl who wants to learn to knit, so I teach her during breaks in class. Before I know it, the other kids are joining in the knitting, and it's a very funny scene. My life has been full of many things, but it's not over yet. I am determined to lead a happy life in my own way. What did you think of this story? Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.